Hi, I'm Rebecca Balcarcel. Let's take a look at Shakespeare's Sonnet number 73. Here we have a speaker who's trying to break it gently to his beloved the news that he's going to die, that he's in the last stages of his life, the fall of his life, and that the beloved, the loved one, will have to go on alone. He starts out this way. That time of year thou mayest in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none, or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare ruined choirs, where late the sweet birds sang. Those are the first 4 lines, the first quatrain. Let's take a closer look. We see in the first line or two that the word order is inverted from what we would say in contemporary English. Our word order would go more like this. In me you might behold that time of year when yellow leaves, or none or few, do hang upon the boughs. So he's saying you'll see right now in me that fall or even late fall time of year when the leaves are just barely hanging on the trees or when the leaves are already blown away by the winter winds. This image is quite sad, quite lonely, and that fits with the purpose of the poem, which is a goodbye. So when we picture those few leaves hanging and trembling against the cold, we feel that it is an appropriate image for our own loneliness and the coldness that we have to endure. Those tender leaves against the cold winter wind, it seems so cruel. The same way that it seems cruel that loved ones are taken away from us in death. So I like that leaf image. Then he says this thing about the choirs. Well, it's important to know that a choir is not only a group of singers, but it's a location in the church. On either side of the main aisle of a church, one would have in an Anglican church these tiers, and this would be where the choir sings. And some of them are on the left, some are on the right, and sometimes the left and right sides sing to each other. It's really quite nice. But the choir is the choir loft or the choir place, this area where people sing. So this line, bare ruined choirs where late the sweet birds sang, is saying in that place where there used to be choirs of birds all singing in the summer months, in the spring maybe, now there's almost no birds at all, and it's like that whole choir area is just emptied out. Now the word late means recently. So bare ruined choirs where late, where recently, or lately, the sweet birds sang. So now we don't have any sweet birds anymore, and we don't have any leaves, and we have all these ending images, these decaying, declining images. Okay, let's do quatrain number 2. In me thou seest the twilight of such day as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, death's second self, that seals up all in rest. So in the first quatrain we had the leaf and bird imagery. Now we have a day imagery, the ending of the day. In me thou seest the twilight of such day. Twilight being right before night falls, after the sun has set, that little purple hour of light. So that's the time of day that I am in, the speaker, is in. In me thou seest the twilight of such day as after sunset fadeth in the west, so after the sun has gone down, which by and by black night doth take away. So the black night will take away twilight. And then night is compared to death, death's second self. So the same way that death closes down someone's life, night closes down the day. So night and death are often compared in poetry of this time period. And we see that night seals up all in rest. So death seals us up in coffins, and night seals us in rest. Of course, he's saying to the beloved, I am in the time right before death, in the twilight, when death's second self, the night, is going to seal me up in rest. Now I want to talk about the word seals. We have seals up in a coffin, or just closes the eyes seal. But in Shakespeare's time, there was also a word seal, spelled differently though, S-E-E-L, that referred to sewing shut the eyes of a hawk. In falconry, this would be called sealing the hawk. So I think we have an echo of that meaning as well here when we get sealed up in rest. Let's check out the third quatrain. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire, that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. Now this quatrain is more complex. The first quatrain compares the speaker's life to the seasons of the year, and we're in the fall of the year. In the second quatrain, the speaker's life is compared to a day that's ending, that's in its twilight. Well, now we have the speaker compared to a fire, and the fire is burning and it's even dying and choking on its own ashes. Let's go line by line and take a look. In me thou seest, all right, so in me you see the glowing of such fire, the glowing of the kind of fire that I'm about to talk about, that on the ashes of his youth doth lie. So on the ashes of the fire's youth lies the fire. So the fire is on the ashes of his own youth. The more the fire burns, the more ash gets created. So a young fire has almost no ash, but slowly the ash accumulates as the fire burns the wood away. We get more and more ashes, and so he's comparing his life to a fire that has mostly burned down and created a lot of ash. And then it says that on the ashes of his youth doth lie as the deathbed whereon it must expire. So there's so many ashes that the fire is going to go out. It's going to expire because the ashes will choke it. It'll have no more fresh wood to burn. It'll be nothing but ash. And this is where he'll expire. So it makes its own deathbed as it burns. So this is much more complex. And unlike the day or the seasons, this fire cannot reignite. This fire is burning down, going out permanently, which is much more like death than the other two. The other two we know are part of cycles, but that's not happening with this death. Death will expire much more like the fire that goes out on its deathbed of ashes. The most difficult line might be line 12 that says, consumed with that which it was nourished by. So the fire is consumed by the very thing that it was nourished by. That means it's eaten by the thing that it eats. So the thing it eats ends up eating it. So the fuel that it eats will dissolve into ash, and then the fire will be consumed by the fuel that is now consumed and has become ash. It's this one makes my head hurt a little bit. Now we get to the last two lines, the rhymed couplet. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave ere long. So he says, this thou perceivest, all of this state that I'm in, how I'm toward the end of my life, you perceive, you notice, which makes your love more strong. So your love is even more strong as you see me dying. And this is appropriate because a lot of us feel so much closer to people when we realize we're going to lose them. Suddenly we appreciate them more and more. And the very last line refers to this as well, to love that well, meaning to love that, the thing that you love, to love me, the speaker, to love that well, which thou must leave ere long. To love the person very, very well, which you are going to be leaving soon. The irony here is that Shakespeare has the person who's going to continue living leave. Thou must leave ere long. You will leave before long the thing you love well, or the person you love well, which is the speaker. So we would expect him to be saying that I'm going to leave you by dying, but he says, no, you're going to need to leave me. And this is interesting psychologically to me, because I think the grieving process really is about the survivors being willing to let go of the departed one, or the departing one. And in fact, leave has another meaning, which is to leaf out. The branches in the spring will leave, meaning that they will produce leaves. So the person who's dying is not the one who's going to be putting out new leaves. The survivor is going to put out the new leaves and have to go on with her life or his life. So to paraphrase this last line, to love me well, which you must leave before long. And one does love well that which is going to be left behind. We realize that in having to leave someone, we want to appreciate them and enjoy the last moments we have with them, because we're going to be parted. So this is a sad poem in a lot of ways, because it is about a loved one departing, but it also offers to that loved one permission to let go and to move on. It's a tender goodbye. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed learning more about this poem, and that you'll join me for another video sometime.